Hi everyone, welcome to episode number 4 of the Build podcast. In this episode, we'll be going through Git, an open source distributed versioning system. Now, the very first thing that we will do after installing and downloading Git is check the version. And this will kind of tell us, hey, Git is installed. So Git version, my currently is 1.7.10. The other thing that we'll do is go through a list of common configurations for Git. In order to do that, we will first list them out, and we do that by git config -- list. And if you are installing Git for the first time, probably the first two is something that you should do, which is user.name and user.email. So let's say you want to just check a certain configuration. What do? You do git config, and then let's say you just do alias.br, and it will show you the configuration. Or if you do git config, let's say I want to look at another configuration, color.ui, it will tell you that it's true. If you want to change something, what you can do is, let's say -- global, which means it will occur globally for all the users in this machine, and you set it to true. This is how you set a typical configuration. So the other way of setting and looking at all the configuration is to access the file, and the file typically resides inside the home folder. So I will do mate and then /.git config is the file name, and I will use textmate to open it up, and you'll see the whole bunch of configurations right here. You can probably edit this file right away and look at all the rest of the codes. Right, so I'll quit this. Next, a very useful one that I almost use every other day is something called Git Clone. If you want to have a copy of another author's Git repository into your computer, you do it by Git Clone. So let's say we go to HTML5 boilerplate GitHub, where the authors have put their codes. So let me go here, and the information that we will be looking for is this little URL. So I'll copy it, and then I'll go back to my terminal. So right now I'm in my home directory. Let me go to desktop. Inside my desktop I have nothing, so I will create a folder called HTML5BP, and I want this entire folder structure and file, everything inside that folder. So in order to do that, we do git clone, you paste the URL and then the folder name, HTML5BP. Okay, so let me first not do that. First I want to open up the desktop and show you that it is completely empty. And let me do a git clone and then HTML5 boilerplate. And once I do that, you'll see that it is cloning into HTML5BP, and you will immediately see that a new folder is created, and slowly they will be cloning in all the folders inside. Of course, right now it is 58%, and let's fast forward a little bit. It has downloaded the entire Git repository, and all the files and folders are right here. So this is how you can clone a Git repository. So I'll just move it to trash because we won't be using it anymore, and we will now create a project of our own and version it and see how to use Git in that process. So I thought of creating this little thing called electromagnetic spectrum, this little chart that shows the wavelength and the frequency. And if you go to the Wikipedia page, at the bottom there's this little diagram, this one. So let's try to create this, and as we progress through it, we will commit our codes, and then we will see how we go forth back and forth. Alright, so this is the little project we'll create, and we are inside our desktop. So let me make a directory, mkdir em spectrum. Alright, now if you do ls, of course we are there. Let me get inside there and let me open it up. Okay, so I am inside electromagnetic spectrum. Of course, it's totally empty. So if you want to now start doing index.html, style.css inside this folder, and if you want to version it straight away, we will first initiate a Git. So in order to do that, we'll do git init. Now when we do that, you will see that there's this empty folder .git. It is obviously hidden, and I like to snoop around, so I have enabled view of my hidden folders, and here you will see a bunch of files that will basically be used to track our codes. Alright, so let's get started, and the very first thing we will do is touch index.html. Okay, so if we go back to our folder, we will see the index.html here. Now another very useful command in Git is Git Status. Alright, so it will always tell you what the current status of your Git repository is, what are the tracked and untracked files. So this is an untracked file. So why don't we go ahead and add some codes inside. So we will go ahead and open this folder in Sublime Text, right, index.html, and I have already prepared some codes previously, and we'll go ahead and add them. Alright, let me save it and view it. I will open index.html. Alright, so there we have it. We have some little codes here. And now if you do git status, it will still tell you untracked files. So I have to now stage it to my working directory. So I'll do git add index.html. If I do a git status, it tells you that, hey, I have a new file. And now I will commit it. Git commit -m, and I'll say it's an initial commit. Right, so now if I do, let me introduce you to another command. It is Git Log. So when we do that, it will tell you that, hey, you have committed with this string. This is like the ID of the commit with this long string of alphabets and numbers. It will tell you who is the author and what's the date and the time that I did it, and also the commit message, the little message that I put here, -m and then a message. Okay, so why don't I go ahead and create style.css. I'll do touch style.css, and if I do ls, now I have two files. And let me go back to my Sublime Text. It's of course empty, and I will go ahead, let me close this file. Okay, and I will go ahead and copy some pre-done codes as well, and I save it and I view it in my browser. Alright, so now kind of things are a bit centralized, but in the Git repository, when I do a git status, it will now tell you untracked file style.css. So after this, we will first stage the file. In order to stage it, we'll do git add style.css, and then we'll do git commit with a commit message. Maybe this time we'll say styles are added. Okay, so similarly, it created one file with 41 lines. So now let's see the Git log. What does it say? Now the Git log will tell you that there has been 2 commits. So it's pretty cool because it allows you to see that, hey, you have committed twice, and there was once an old version of the project. There are pretty cool things that we can do with Git log as well. So one of them is Git log, and if you put an option called --1 line, alright, so it will tell you styles are added and initial commit. If you want to go back to the previous commit, I will just copy this, and then I'll do git checkout, and I'll paste this number. And when I do here, look what happens when I refresh. It goes back to my previous code. It is pretty cool that you can go back and see your previous styles. So now I will of course go back to my current one. Alright, and now when I refresh it, alright, I come back. So in this way, it's a very quick way of going back and forth between my previous old codes and my new codes. Now the other thing that we'll go through is this thing called branches. If you want to work on different stuff, let's say different bugs or different types of features that you want to test out, you can create different branches. In order to do that, we will do git branch and -b. We have, let's look at the electromagnetic spectrum once again. We have a frequency and we have a wavelength. So let's create the frequency first. So if we do frequency git, sorry, it should be git checkout. See, sometimes I also forget the exact syntax. So git checkout -b, and if you do a git branch, it will tell you that, hey, I am inside the frequency branch. So of course the frequency branch will have no difference from my master branch, but let's go and add some codes to my frequency branch. So I have already prepared some codes here. Let's go and add them. Okay, so when you come to the browser, okay, you'll see all the frequencies have been added. And let's do a git status. Modified file index.html. So I will kind of add it. Alright, and then I can do git diff dash staged. Let's see what happens. It will actually tell you what are the differences. So I'm going to put :q to exit from here. So this is quite a very quick way of seeing what is the difference between the one that is staged and the one that is committed. So of course I will go and git commit added frequencies. And now when I do git status, they will tell me, hey, there's nothing to commit. And when I do a git branch, it will tell me that I am on the branch frequency. So right now I'm on the branch frequency. So if I do git checkout master, if I want to go back to master, watch what happens. I will get back all my master codes. And now if I go back again inside frequency, git checkout frequency, and I refresh the browser, I will be able to see the frequency. It's pretty cool. Why don't we create another branch called the wavelength, where we can create this wavelength? Right, so right now I am in which branch? I am in frequency. So let me first get out to the master, git checkout master, and we will git checkout -b wavelength in this case. Alright, so now if we do git branch, we will see three branches. One is the master, one is frequency, which is not my current branch, and then there is wavelength. So when I go to wavelength, of course, since it takes from the master and then branches out to wavelength, it will look like my master. So I will add on a little bit of codes. Right, save it. And when I do that, okay, so all my wavelengths are here. So when I do git status modified file, I'll just add the index.html, and I'll also commit it. Git commit with the message wavelengths GHTS are added. Alright, so git status. Okay, cool. So when I do a git branch, I'm on wavelength. When I do a git status, I have nothing to commit. So this is how my git branch on the wavelength looks like. This is how my git checkout, let me go back to master. This is how the master looks like. And this is how the frequency looks like. Pretty cool. Git checkout master. So now I have a master branch along with two other branches, frequency and wavelength. So let's say my frequency has been added and my wavelength has been added. Now I want to merge back all my codes into master. How do I do that? I will just do git merge. So firstly I have to make sure that I'm on the master, and I do that by doing a git branch and making sure that my master and the asterisk is right beside the master. And then I'll do git merge, and then I'll do frequency. Let's see what happens. Alright, so I'm on the master branch and I have merged the frequency. Okay, cool. And now let me merge the wavelength and let's see what happens. So git merge wavelength. Alright, so now you can see conflicts. So in Git, when you try to code in the same places in two different branches, there will obviously be some conflict. So what we do in this case is, you see over here, they already tell you that it's inside index.html. So let's go inside here. When we examine the file, we will see that it will tell you that this is the head. This is one part of the code that is conflicting. And this is the other part of the code that is conflicting with the branch of wavelength. So I will go ahead and fix it, and I'll copy it so that, and then what I'll do is, let me just check Git status. Alright, both modified, and I will add git index.html and git commit complete em spectrum. Okay, great. So I have committed it, and now when I do a git status, it will tell you everything is clear. And let us do a git log, and I'll do a one line. Now we will see all these committed logs that were done. Now let's get into git log a little bit. So if you want to see the log for only for the past two, what you can do is git log and then minus or dash 2, the number, and it will show you only the past two logs. A little bit about removing files from Git. So if you do ls, there are two files here. So let's say we do a touch and script.js, git add script.js, git commit added scripts. So now if you do an ls, there are obviously three files. If you want to remove script.js, you cannot just do rm, because then the Git will not know that it has been removed. It is always advisable to do git rm and script.js. So it will remove it, and now if we do ls, it will be only the two folders. So this is a very clean way of removing it. Whenever we want to know more about the command of a Git, what we can do is git help, and let's say you want to know more about the command status. So you can do git help status, and it will open up this file where you can read more about it. So of course to exit it is :q. Alright, that's it about the little project and going through some of the basic Git commands. There are tons more to learn, and I'm still learning every single day. But these are some of the references I wanted to go through about Git. One of them is the main Git website, Git SCM. They even have a free book here that I can read through. It's very towards the end it gets pretty advanced as well. There is also a video by the founder of GitHub, Tom Preston Warner. I strongly advise you to watch this as well, as he goes through what Git is and how you can use it. And lastly, the Git manual page, where it tells you about some exhaustive documentation about all the commands in Git. I have so much to learn still. This week's build link goes to Pragmatic Programmers, prog.com/magazine. These are completely free magazine, monthly magazine, and they talk about tons of technology stuff, probably a few articles per magazine, and it's available in different file formats, and they are very worth it to read it. I definitely go here and I subscribe and I download the magazines every month and I read through it. They're chock full of very interesting articles and some news about Pragmatic Bookshelf itself. And finally, we have come to the end of the episode, and let's go to buildpodcast.com where all the previous episodes of Build Podcast are hosted. And now you can also see the GitHub where all the codes are there. You can subscribe to the feed, or you can also go to the iTunes and use the feed and subscribe to it, and you'll be able to download all the videos. So I'll see you next week for another episode of the Build Podcast. Goodbye.